In today's video, I'm gonna take you along on a cruise from Flam on the famous UNESCO fjord in Norway. We started the morning with a ferry between Manheller and Fotnes, which has great views. It only takes about 10 minutes, but it's really a beautiful sight. And then we continue our drive to one of Norway's most interesting tunnels. Quite a long tunnel to get us to Lertarsori. I don't know if that is the correct name. And then we finally get to Flam, very popular spot.
So what else is there to do in Norway? Of course you have to visit Flam and visit the wonderful UNESCO fjord. Here it's not just a fjord cruise ship that you can also take a train, and it's advertised online as one of the main attractions here. The train costs around 60 euros per person, takes around 1 hour, and in my opinion it's very expensive, but a lot of people seem to love it, and it's considered to be a wonderful experience as you go through the wonderful nature, but very crowded. So instead of waiting for the boat that I found online, the electric cruise, which you need to book in advance, we found not a local boat, which is more traditional, it's not electric, but it was only 360 per person, and the other one was 450, so 10 euros less per person, and it was just leaving now, so we didn't have to wait. So what I forgot to tell you is that this trip is going to take 2 hours, and you have plenty of time to enjoy the views, take pictures, have a coffee. They sell coffee, pastry, and stuff on board. That's really cool.
Welcome aboard this unforgettable journey through the two of Norway's most iconic fjords, Aurlandsfjord and Nærøyfjord, stretching between the charming village of Flam and the storybook town of Gudvangen. This ferry cruise is often described as one of the most beautiful boat trips in the world. In fact, this area is part of the West Norwegian Fjords, a UNESCO World Heritage Site, recognized for its outstanding natural beauty and dramatic scenery. You're not just on a boat trip, you're gliding through a protected piece of natural history. As I told you already, we began our journey in Flam, a small but lovely village tucked into the innermost corner of Aurlandsfjord. Flam is famous for its scenic railway, as I mentioned, but it's also a popular jumping off point for exploring the fjords. From here, the ferry sets off into Aurlandsfjord, which is actually a branch of the larger Sognefjord, the longest and deepest fjord in Norway, stretching over 200 kilometers inland. As the ferry slowly pulls away from Flam, look back and you'll see the lush green hills and small farms clinging to the mountainsides. During spring and summer, waterfalls gush down from the cliffs, fed by the melting snow from the higher elevations. One of the most impressive waterfalls you'll spot early on is Sagfossen, tumbling down the mountainside like a silver ribbon. You'll also pass by the tiny village of Aurland, which sits on the opposite shore just a few minutes into the cruise. It's a sleepy village best known for traditional shoemaking. Yes, they still make handcrafted leather shoes here using techniques passed down for generations. There's even a visitor-friendly shoe factory in town if you're curious. As we continue down Aurlandsfjord, take a moment to appreciate the narrowness and steepness of the mountains. The water beneath us can reach depths of more than 1,000 meters, while the cliffs around us rise just as high. It's this vertical scale that makes Norwegian fjords so uniquely awe-inspiring. It feels like sailing through a deep canyon, but one filled with water instead of sand. And soon after that, we got into Nærøyfjord. And this is where things became truly magical. Nærøyfjord is narrower, more dramatic, and even quieter than Aurlandsfjord. At its narrowest point, it's only about 250 meters wide, with sheer cliffs rising directly from the water on either side. It's hard to believe that the larger ferries can even navigate through here, but they do. Along this stretch, keep an eye out for tiny farms and old settlements tucked along the shoreline. Some of these places are only accessible by boat or on foot. You'll see Stevie. I'm not sure I'm pronouncing that correctly, but Stevie is a remote farm with just one remaining resident. The mail boat still stops here in the summer, continuing a tradition that dates back more than 100 years. Another postcard perfect stop is Bakka, a cluster of just a few houses, a white wooden church from the 1850s, and views that look straight out of a fantasy novel. This was once a more populated area, but like many fjord communities, it's now a quiet, scenic retreat. Even though the villages are tiny and isolated, this area has been lived in for centuries. The fjords were once vital Viking waterways used for trading, farming, and raiding. It's kind of surreal to float through the same narrow channels the Vikings once navigated with their longships. As you get closer to Gudvangen, the mountains seem to close in around the boat, creating a tunnel-like passage toward the end of the fjord. The name Gudvangen translates to something like God's field by the water, and it's been a sacred spot for centuries. Today is home to a recreated Viking village, which you can visit once you arrive. The cruise takes about 2 hours, though many people say it feels both longer because of how much there is to see and shorter because you just don't want it to end. My personal perception of these fjords is just incredible. I find these fjords to be one of the most magical places on earth. The lush green of the summer, the fiery colors, the stillness of it all. These ferries offer some sort of rare peacefulness that you can only find in a place like Norway. And for me, this wasn't just another boat ride, it was a journey into the Norwegian nature and a bit of its history, and I truly loved it. And as I said before, and I will say it a bunch more in my future videos, Norway forever will have my heart.
So we reached on the other side of the fjord. The trip takes around 2 hours by boat, and you're gonna see a lot of waterfalls and natural landscapes around the fjord on all sides. It's really nice. You're gonna see some villages that don't have road access. They rely on boats. Yeah, and it's really pretty.
What?
The Vikings have been here, Edward.
This is where their expedition ended.
After the 2-hour cruise to Gudvangen, which means something with God, there is a shuttle bus that gets people from one side to the other, so basically from Flam to Gudvangen. So after you take the ferry, you can go back where you park your car, or where you started the journey. In this case, the bus is here. It's gonna take us back to Flam, where we parked, and I'm not sure exactly if we are all going to fit in the bus because it's quite a long queue. And also, I'm not exactly sure on the price. There is also a public bus which you can take, but that one works, I don't know, every hour or every half an hour, something like that. So it's not correlated to the schedule of the ferries, of a touristic thing. So, but it's like half the price. So if you're willing to wait for like 30 minutes more, then you can go on the main road and wait for that one. As it seems, this bus is fully booked, so you have the option to book it online, as well as the electric ferries, the expensive ones, and we didn't. So I don't think we're gonna get on this one. Fortunately, I feel a bit cold, but as I said, there is a public bus right on down the street, so that's where we're gonna go, and hopefully there will be a bus in 30 minutes. So the bus came on time, but there are different buses which you can book, and maybe it would be a good idea to book it before the bus gets here. Fortunately, you can also pay on the bus by card, and there were plenty of seats free.
So here we are in the bus station. Even the landscape around the bus station, this is the main road, looks amazing. And after about 20 minutes on the bus, we got back to Flam. This is the train, the famous train from Flam. And we got into the car and drove all the way to Dale, which is a famous brand of sweaters in Norway. And we stopped at their factory outlet, tried on some really cool and expensive Norwegian sweaters, but we did not buy any. This is a random stop at a gas station, and you'll find plenty of electric chargers for electric cars in Norway. And now we start searching for a place to sleep.
So we tried to find a camping here next to Bergen. And the first camping actually is full for the first time ever. There is no hotel under 300 euros per night, and the camping is effectively full. So next camping, the camping finder responsible for the day. Full. So this is the third camping that we're trying, and we're going to ask if they're gonna accept our tent. The first two were full, and now it started raining, and apparently it will rain later. There are no available places in Bergen. It's just mind-blowing. So this is our fourth camping, and luckily we found a spot for our tent. The soil is pretty humid, so basically it's soaked. But yeah, and it was only 37 euros with 2 showers. So one shower is 4 minutes, and it costs 10 crowns, which is 1 euro. And we got 2, just in case.
This was our situation. Stopping in Bergen, well, it will always be rainy, and it was also very expensive to stay in a hotel, so a tent was our only option. This was our meal. We came so unprepared, but we had some beer, so yeah.